evening. I'm Carolyn Rye, Chair of the School Board of the City of Virginia Beach, and we're calling this a bridge meeting to order on the 6th day of July, 4:30 p.m. The School Board Abridged meeting will be streamed live on vbschools.com, broadcast on VBTV Channel 47, and on Zoom through the link previously provided. The purpose of this abridged meeting is for the school board to address limited matters that cannot be put off until the next regular school board meeting. School board retreats and abridged meetings are not regular meetings and follow the agenda set forth for the meeting or is otherwise adopted by the school board at the retreat or abridged meeting. Members of the public may watch the retreat and abridged meeting in person with limited seating. Notice of the meeting was posted in the school administration building and on the vbschools.com website. So with that, Madam Clerk, would you please take attendance?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Present in the meeting is Ms. Owens, Ms. Hughes, Ms. Manning, Ms. Anderson, Ms. Melnick, Chairwoman Rye, Ms. Weems, Ms. Holtz, Ms. Felton, Ms. Riggs, and Ms. Franklin.
Thank you. Would all present please join me now in a moment of silence? And please stand as you are able for the Pledge of Allegiance, and we have the flag on the screen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, adoption of the abridged meeting agenda. Any modifications to the agenda? Okay, hearing none, motion to approve. Mrs. Manning and Mrs. Melnick, a second. All right, please show your approval with raised hand.
Madam Chair, we have a unanimous vote.
Thank you. And that brings us now to approval of the meeting minutes from the June 22nd, 2021 regular meeting. Any modification to these minutes previously provided? Okay, hearing none, motion to approve. Mrs. Anderson, a second. Mrs. Hughes, all in favor, show a raised hand, please.
We have 8 ayes.
Okay, all abstaining, please show a raised hand. And reason,
And we have 3 abstentions.
reasons were
Ms. Manning, why are you abstaining?
Because I was not present for the meeting.
Thank you.
I was not present for the meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Melnick. And Ms. Weems?
I was out of town, not present.
Thank you.
all right. And any nays, show a raised hand.
And there are no nays.
So could you capture for us the outcome of that vote, please?
The approval of minutes they won 8 ayes, no nays, and 3 abstentions.
Okay. So now the action part of our agenda, personnel report, administrative appointments. Motion to approve. That's Mrs. Riggs, and a second, Mrs. Holtz. All right, please show approval with a raised hand.
Madam Chair, we have unanimous vote.
Thank you, and with that, I know, Dr. Spence, you have a number of appointments to share with us.
I do, thank you, Madam Chair. I'll start with acknowledging Katie Catania. Katie has served in Virginia Beach with distinction as a teacher at CTEC Elementary, Strawbridge Elementary. She's been a CRS and an ITS. She's been an instructional specialist in the Department of Teaching and Learning, served as the coordinator of elementary science in the Department of Teaching and Learning. Most recently, has been serving as an assistant principal at Holland Elementary School. We're pleased this evening that you've accepted our recommendation for Dr. Catania to serve as the next principal at Parkway Elementary School. Congratulations to her. I'd like to recognize James Daub. James has served as a teacher in Norfolk Public Schools, as a teacher at Cook Elementary and Lansdowne Elementary, most recently as a teacher at Newtown Elementary School. Mr. Daub, we're pleased you've accepted our recommendation for him to serve as the next assistant principal at Princess Anne Elementary School. I'd like to next recognize Valerie Poling. Ms. Poling has served as an avid tutor in Virginia Beach, most recently has been serving as a teacher at Holland Elementary School. We're pleased this evening you've accepted our recommendation for her to serve as the next assistant principal at Holland Elementary School. Next, I'd like to recognize Letitia Swift Newsome. Ms. Swift Newsome has served as a teacher at Betty F. Williams Elementary School. She has served in Georgia as a teacher. She's served as a teacher at Newtown Elementary School. Most recently has been serving as a teacher at Holland Elementary School. I'm pleased this evening that you've accepted our recommendation for Ms. Swift Newsome to serve as the next assistant principal at Centerville Elementary School. I'd like to recognize Megan Thompson. Megan Thompson has served as a teacher in Maryland, as a teacher at Kempsville Elementary School, a CRS and ITS at Diamond Springs Elementary School. Most recently has been serving as an ITS at Thorogood Elementary School. We're pleased you've accepted our recommendation for her to serve as the next assistant principal at Thorogood Elementary School. I'd like to recognize Tyrone Ty Harris. Mr. Harris has served as a teacher in South Carolina, as a teacher in Northern Virginia. He's been with the United States Department of Education. He has served as an assistant principal in Northern Virginia, a principal in Northern Virginia, and most recently has been serving as an assistant principal in Williamsburg, James City County. We're pleased this evening you've accepted our recommendation for him to serve as the next coordinator of professional learning in the Office of Professional Growth and Innovation. I'd like to next recognize Dr. Lorena Kelly. Dr. Kelly has served in Virginia Beach as a teacher, an instructional specialist in the Department of Teaching and Learning, a coordinator in that department, an assistant principal at Lincoln Park Elementary School, and most recently as the principal at Kings Grant Elementary School, and for a very brief stint at Brookwood Elementary School. And we're pleased this evening that you've accepted our recommendation for Dr. Kelly to serve as the next executive director in elementary teaching and learning in the Department of School Leadership. Excuse me, I apologize, in the Department of Teaching and Learning. Then finally, I'd like to recognize Angela Siders. Ms. Siders has served with distinction as a teacher in Newport News, an administrator in Newport News, to include a principal at Crittenden Middle School, Reservoir Middle School, Dozier Middle School, Tabb High School. Most recently has been serving as the Associate Director of School Administration and Compliance in the York County School Division. And we're pleased this evening, I apologize, she's now serving as the Director of Secondary Instruction in York County School Division. We're pleased this evening that you've accepted our recommendation for Ms. Siders to serve as the next Executive Director of Secondary Teaching and Learning in the Department of Teaching and Learning. And that is it, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Doc.
Congratulations to this group.
Yes.
And we do wish them all well. All right, now that brings us to Mrs. Cami Linetti, our school board counsel, status of state of emergency. Welcome, Mrs. Linetti. Here.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, school board members, and Dr. Spence. I'm Cami Linetti, school board legal counsel. And I thought I was going to be coming to you tonight to say that the state of emergency has ended. Unfortunately, we did get a new ruling by the state health commissioner that applies specifically to K-12 education on there. So while the governor's state of emergency has ended in Virginia, which affects some areas of our business, the State Commissioner of Health has extended the coronavirus emergency in K-12 education. That is the guidance that came out on June 30th. So you are currently in schools from July 1st until July 25th. You are under the State Commissioner of Public Health determination that there remains a public health crisis in the K-12 education in Virginia. And this applies simply to indoor education for our students that are in classrooms. and classrooms are receiving education for us in our buildings. Again, the same restrictions that we saw before about being outside, being in activities, places you can take your masks on. So my guidance at this point is going to be that we wait a little bit longer into July to make any formal final determinations. Many of the guidance that we have had that we put in after the pandemic was declared in March and then your April 7th order in 2020, most of that has been overridden by state law. The law has changed, changes to the budget amendments allowed you to now do electronic meetings and things that we had originally adopted the amendment for. We've slowly been able to ease out of some of our restrictions in schools and in our workplaces. We've been able to handle that. At this time, I'm not recommending that you take any further action till the end of July. We continue doing what we're doing because the law allows you to handle matters as you determine appropriate in schools. I'm fully expecting that as long as the coronavirus numbers remain low in Virginia, that this public health order will be released and we will not be facing another public health order. It's my understanding that City Council has on their agenda at 6 p.m. tonight to lift the state of emergency in Virginia Beach also, so we'll fully expect that to come in. It doesn't really affect what you're doing at the moment, so my guidance at this point is we'll wait a little bit longer till July 25th, see what comes out of the State Department of Public Health, and then we'll take action appropriately. Again, at this time, as Mrs. Rye mentioned to you earlier, we've not done electronic meetings for the school board since last summer, but any other meetings should be, and we've moved all our committee meetings have gone in person. All those meetings should be returning to in-person meetings to the extent possible. Doesn't affect your remote participation in meetings, that's allowed, but the full meeting, where you have a majority of the members either of your committee or school board need to be in person. Again, we've been conducting meetings like that for months. School board has been meeting in person for their meetings since last summer, so we're fully in compliance with the current state of the law. I'd like to give you better guidance right now, but we're simply not getting anything out of BDOE or anything more out of the governor's office as it will affect schools. So I think at this time, my recommendation to you is that we just wait till the end of July, see what the rules are on us, and continue business as the way we've been doing it so far. It will not generally affect anything that you're doing at the moment. Are there any questions I can answer at this time?
Mrs. Manning?
So I'm a little confused about the mask mandate in the absence of an emergency order, since there is also a law that states that masks are illegal for people 16 and over unless it is rescinded by an emergency order by the governor or a specific medical reason provided by that person's physician. So how do we get around mandating masks that violate law?
That law was suspended temporarily, and I believe I've been waiting
Not
for the
anymore.
guidance. Yeah, and it came back out. However, the State Director of Public Health, if they declare a public health emergency, can override any other law. And that's what happened with this particular guidance that came out on June 30th. So they're saying at least inside school settings for students in buildings with students that they've determined there's a public health. So the Commission of
But the
Public Health can do
law
that.
about the mask specifically says unless it's rescinded by an emergency order by the governor, not the State Department of Health Commissioner. So I'm just confused how that works.
Yeah, I think I'll tell you honestly, we all are. This coming out this way was not, there wasn't a lot of announcements coming out with this at this point, and so we've been waiting for guidance, and we are not getting any further guidance as to how this is going. Unfortunately, I believe at this time that the State Commissioner of Public Health has the right to determine that there is an emergency situation through July 25th, and so we're kind of trapped with that. But correct, we were all waiting to see how this was going to be interpreted, and we are not getting any further guidance on this.
So it could be that this is not necessarily within the guidelines of the law, what the health commissioner has done?
I believe the State Director of Public Health does have the authority to override and determine a limited area of an emergency, and I think that is within the Commissioner's authority. Barring any further questions, we will keep you updated as we are finding out information from either the Virginia Department of Health or the Commissioner of Health's office and give you more information. Again, I think you've been slowly backing off on a lot of your COVID restrictions, and so I think your situation, you just keep doing what you've been doing, and we'll follow the guidance as we're getting it out there and make determinations as you see things happening in the schools. Again, numbers are looking pretty good at the moment, so I don't expect there will be significant changes, but again, we're waiting for guidance, and I don't believe if Dr. Spence has received any further guidance that we've all been looking for. So we're not getting further guidance as to where things will be in the fall. So we're expecting this order will expire at the end of July. It is my understanding the order was put in specifically for summer school with no anticipation that it will come out in the fall. But I know I met with many of the school attorneys last week, and none of us have been able to get any further guidance on this. So right now, I think you're fine where you are with your laws. And again, reminder to you all, we've been in person for school board meetings. Their committee meetings have been back in person for several months now, so continue with that. The law will allow you, if we need to go back into emergency electronic meetings, that we can deal with that in the future, but I don't see any reason for that at the moment. So again, questions on how you conduct meetings, please contact me and we'll talk you through how you need to handle them.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. So information, we have a resolution from a colleague on masks and face coverings. Mrs. Hughes, would you like to read your resolution, please?
Whereas the school board of the city of Virginia Beach, Virginia is committed to the physical safety and emotional well-being of all students and staff, as well as being committed to providing the least restrictive environment for all students, and whereas at least 19 states have lifted all mask mandates with no increase in COVID numbers, and whereas the state of emergency expires at midnight on June 30th, 2021, and whereas all COVID mandates expire on June 30th, 2021. Now, therefore, be it resolved that mask or face covering shall, in the absence of further statewide mandates, be optional in all Virginia Beach City public schools, buildings and offices, both indoors and outdoors, that mask or face coverings will, in the absence of further statewide mandates, be optional for all Virginia Beach City public schools, students, staff, and guests, that this policy shall be in effect beginning July 21st, 2021. Be it further resolved that it will not be the policy of Virginia Beach City public schools to either encourage or discourage any student, staff member, or guest to wear a mask or face covering.
Okay, so it's presented for information, and I know it's your intent to have it added as an action item at our July 20th meeting, but there's an opportunity now for any colleagues to ask you any questions or make any comments. All right, then hearing Mrs. Manning.
So okay. So I support this. I think that the public, parents specifically, are looking to the school board to be provided an answer for what's going to happen this fall so that they can make some decisions regarding enrollment for their children this fall. There are a lot of people who feel very strongly that if their child is required to wear a mask to school this fall, that they do not want them to attend. So I think that we owe it to the public to make a decision on this. I firmly support Ms. Hughes' resolution. I think that we've had parents share concerns regarding negative impacts of masks on their children. We've had parents send us pictures of their children having impetigo on their faces, seeing pictures of sopping wet masks come home. I'm concerned with other illnesses that students are going to contract by the requirement to continue to wear masks. So I hope that we can pass this resolution to indicate to the public where we stand.
Okay, anybody else? All right then, that concludes our abridged meeting at 4:49 p.m. and we will be reconvening for the second day of our retreat tomorrow morning, beginning with breakfast at 8 o'clock and our session beginning at 8:30. So everybody have a safe and restful evening. Thank you.